Good morning, friends. It's been a while. Actually, it's not even good morning, it's good afternoon. It has been a while since I have been with you, but I really have felt like today, for some reason, it's been on my heart and I needed to do something. Part of it is I need to do my own yoga because I haven't been doing yoga very much, and it just affects me mentally and then eventually physically. Just recently I did a race where I was supposed to run for a long distance, and it ended up, as soon as I started my run, my back started hurting, which I've never experienced, and so that concerned me. And so since then I ran again and started feeling my back bother me again, and I thought, Kim, you need to be doing some yoga. You know that's what helps your back feel better. And so I hold that thought. So back to what I was saying. So I just realized that I really do need yoga in my life. And I didn't just realize that's silly. I've always known that I need yoga because anytime I do yoga, I mentally and physically feel better instantly. And so, and I think of you guys often, the ones who I think enjoy doing yoga or are interested or intrigued by it and feel like maybe they can't do it because of their body. And so I thought, my yoga doesn't have to be perfect, which is really hard for me to admit. And that was probably one of the reasons I hadn't done one in a while, because I felt like I was not sure where to go next. Even though I knew what to do, I just wasn't sure where I wanted to go next with it. And then I kept thinking, but if I do this, then I have to do it this way. It has to be perfect. And that's putting way too much pressure on myself, but also it's not doing what I want to do, which is to let people know that they don't have to be perfect. They can be anything and they can do anything. They can sit in a chair and do yoga. Even if they can't get out of a wheelchair, maybe they can still do yoga. I was watching a video the other night of a woman who lives in a scooter, basically, and can't get out of the scooter to do much of anything, but she was able to do yoga while still sitting on her scooter. So perfectly imperfect, actually. I love that saying or that phrase. The other thing is commitment is my biggest block that I deal with. And I want to be committed to this channel and to you out there who are interested in having a life with yoga in it, whether it be minimal, whether it be all the time, you know, but just you have that opportunity. So I am here today to do a yoga class with you. And this time what I decided to do was just kind of follow a plan that has been written out. And there's so many places you can go for yoga. But my intent is that you have a yoga practice that you can tailor to your specific abilities, okay? So this one's a gentle yoga. It's Gentle Yoga 2, and it is in the Hatha Yoga book. One of the authors is Brooke Boone, and she is one of the persons who created Holy Yoga, which is what I do, and she is created these poses, not created these, she just created these sequencing in these poses because the poses are already there, but she sequenced them together. So let's get started as I am, or as you could in a seated position, or you could even decide that you want to lay down on your back or be in child's pose. We've talked about that. I am actually going to lift myself up on a block. It just gives me a little bit more support in my back and helps me to keep my back more aligned. Remember, in our yoga, the point of it is just to kind of connect to our body and not try and do these poses to just see if we can do these poses. We want these poses to mean something to us. We want them to affect us in a positive way, right? We can all make ourselves do things that that we're being told to do. Maybe not perfect, but we can all like strive to do, oh, I have to do it this way. There is no have to. You have to do what's right for your body and for your abilities. So I want you to remember that and honor that as we go through this practice right now. And so we're going to start off with being in this seated position. We're going to start off with some breathing again, like we did before. I think my dogs might help us with the breathing. We're just going to kind of try and meditate. One more thing about that is that you're going to hear sounds. You're going to hear the dog breathing. You're going to hear the dog maybe bark. You're going to hear the airplane outside that I can hear, or the air conditioning system coming on. That's just life. Life is going to happen all this around us, and we can still do yoga with life happening around us. If it's a different kind of yoga maybe than being in a class where all the lights are at this perfect setting and the music's at this perfect setting, and you've got these beautiful hangings on the wall, or beautiful flowy curtains or candles, or whatever the case may be. But you don't have to have that to have yoga. You just need to have you and listen to your body and calm your mind and do what you can do for you. So go ahead and sit in this comfortable position. Remember, we want to keep our ribs tucked in together. We want to keep our tailbone tucked under, not extremely. We want to keep our shoulders back, and we want to keep our head aligned over our shoulders. So basically our ears are over our shoulders. And we want to keep that as much as we can. That's our goal. That right there is a yoga position. That is what's going to help you get stronger and stronger. You can do this. Remember, I've said this before, and breathe. You're doing a yoga position. You're doing something so good for you. And now let's add on. We're just going to do a little bit of meditating. And we're going to tune out things that are bothering us. And we're going to sit here, meditate, breathing in and breathing out. And as you do that, just keep breathing in slowly, counting to 4, breathe out. As you do that, keep going. I'm just going to talk to you for a little bit more. I want you to realize again, and this is really aimed at me, but you know, it could be for you as well. Breathing in, breathing out. That life doesn't have to be perfect, that there are a lot of good things even when life is imperfect and things feel too full on your plate. And today I was reminded with my children, they're amazing and I adore them, and they have their faults. They're not perfect. And it reminded me so many times, I think about how God must look at us, and he looks at us as his children, and he's like, there's my Kim, you know, if she would just listen and follow what she should be following, then, you know, things would work out a little bit differently, maybe in her, you know, not in her favor, but maybe just better for her, because I do believe that God has good plans for us. And I think that he looks at us just like we look at our own kids, if we have kids, or heck, even if just animals, we have animals that we love them, and we want them to do the things that are right for them, that are good for them, that are healthy for them. Hope you're still breathing in and out. And so we monitor their food intake, we monitor their exercise, we monitor what they're allowed to do, and when they're allowed to do anything. And that's what God does for us too. And we love on our animals and our people, and that's what he does for us too. And I know for me, I get really busy and I forget to remember that, hey, God loves me and I'm his kid, I'm his child. And just like my kids are my kids. And even though I never forget them, I'm constantly like, oh my goodness, we've got to do this and we've got to do that. And why did you do this? And why did you do that? And, you know, and then I turn around and I'm like, okay, Kim, you got to remember that you have to praise them, because there's so many great things that they're doing. And praise people, because we all are trying to have a good place in life, right? So that being said, I want you to continue to breathe. I want you to go ahead and take your right hand and place it behind you, and your left hand and put it on your right knee. You're gonna just do a twist, and I may be messed up on my commands here because, hey, I'm not perfect, but I just want you to twist and stretch out your back. Don't over twist, just gently pull. You're still sitting. If you were laying down, go ahead, or in child's pose, come to a seated position. And you're gonna breathe in and out. And you're gonna try and keep that posture alignment straight. All right, now we're gonna go on to the other side, bringing the other hand behind us and the other hand on our opposite knee and twisting the other way. All right, so we're gonna come back to center, and we're gonna start out in a Shavasana pose or a dead corpse pose. And we're just gonna be laying on our back, which some of you are already doing. So go ahead, lay on your back, move your props. And I'm gonna have this book here because I'm gonna be cheating and looking at it to just kind of guide you guys along. You're gonna use a strap. So if you didn't have a strap, go ahead and grab a strap. It doesn't have to be a perfect yoga strap, it could be a belt, okay? It could be one of those elastic straps. Stay, nope, stay. But first I want you to go ahead, and we're gonna go ahead and lay in this Shavasana type position, in this dead corpse. We're gonna do it in a supported position. We're gonna put a block under our knees, the back of our knees, and kind of just give us, you're gonna have to adjust, like I am, pulling it in with my feet, and just kind of just rest here. And then just breathe in and breathe out, enjoying the quiet or the noises that you're hearing, in my video here, okay? From here, I want you to go ahead, and we're gonna do what's called, it's basically grabbing your big toe and holding it up and stretching your leg. And so we will take the strap, and we're gonna put it behind, just behind the padding of the toes, the ball of the foot. Okay, you don't need to put it in the crook between the heel and the ball. Just put it at the ball of your foot, okay? And a good thing to do is to keep your outside foot, or the opposite foot that's on the ground, bring it up into a bent leg position. And you're gonna go ahead and just stretch out, and you should be feeling a stretch. You don't have to even pull very hard. And you could feel a stretch back here. These are your hamstrings. And if you feel like, and you wanna try and keep your hips level down on the ground, so you're not up like this and all over the place, okay? You want your body to be, your core, your hips to be on the ground. You want your tailbone to be kind of as much as possible facing towards the other wall. And you're just getting a nice stretch. And then when you're ready, we're gonna go ahead and just switch over, bring your other foot up, tuck it into that band, bring the other foot down, and keeping those hips level. Remember, keeping your posture, even in this point, keeping your ribs tucked in, your head down, right? Not like this. You're more in a neutral position. Okay, shoulders roll back. So if this is feeling okay, you're not feeling a stretch, and some of you won't, because some of you are super flexible, and this is not a big deal. Some of you are runners like me, and I with just being here straight, I can feel this stretch. So you can pull further towards your head. Sit, lay down, lay down, down. Now, in some yogi classes, you would also, if you weren't using this band, you could do the big toe stretch, and you would grab it with your First two fingers, reach in, grab your big toe, and you're bringing it towards you. If you want even further of a stretch, for some of you again who are more flexible, you could put your leg out, your leg that's on the ground, out further, out straight. Okay? Most importantly though, is whatever you're doing is you're breathing and you're keeping your posture in alignment. Okay? Alrighty, so from here we're going to do what's called bridge pose. This is a really popular pose in classes. Great pose for you. There's a lot of different, there's some controversies about it. Some people say bring your feet all the way up, the heel all the way up to the bottom of your buttocks. You should be able to touch the heels with your fingertips. Some people say, you know, you don't need it that far. I personally don't need it that far. I feel like when I bring it in too far up, I'm hurting my knee, and I don't want that knee pain. So I just kind of bring it out to almost where I believe my legs are directly under, my lower legs are directly under my knees, and my ankles are directly under my knees, okay? And you're gonna have your, like about hip width apart, your feet, and when you come up, you're going to lift your hips up into the air, and when you do it, you're gonna be like you're having a rope tied around your hips, and that's lifting your hips up, right? But what you're using to actually lift your hips up are your leg muscles. You're not using your hips, you're using your leg muscles all the way around. You should feel that on your inner thighs, on your outer thighs, on your glutes, right in here. And then you want to, there's different ways to do it. You want to just keep your bridge up. And we're just doing a light bridge. We don't have to do anything extreme. You don't want to crunch your neck, right? Everything should still be in alignment right here, okay? And when you come down, you want to roll down like you're dropping a bead of pearls onto the ground with your vertebrae like a bead of pearls dropping onto the ground. So you're going to slowly roll down one vertebrae at a time, and you're breathing out. Okay? Back to your normal, comfortable position. Everything should be in alignment. And we're going to come back up. Remember, your hips are going to be lifted up by your glutes, by your inner legs, your outer legs, pushing with the heel of your foot into the ground. Okay? It's going to be like a jet. This is like a jet runway coming off of your legs. And as you get into it, you'll go higher and higher. And then as you get further into it, not right now, you would be scrunching your shoulders together to try and put your shoulders under your body and clasp your hands under your body. But all of that is down the road. So at this point, we've just got our hips in the air. We're going to go ahead and lower them one vertebrae at a time. And you should be where the small of your back is coming a little bit off the ground, a very neutral position. All right? Okay. From here, we're going to do the knees to chest, stretching out our back again. I'm going to bring both of our knees up. If you can, grab it with the top of your knees with your hands. If you can go further because you're nice and warmed up, or you're a super flexible person, or even middle flexible, I'm not. You could bring your hands around, hold your knees like this, and the goal is you would want to have your head down and flat on the ground. That is not in my wheelhouse, so I'm going to leave my head on the ground. I'm going to go ahead and use my hands to pull in. And if this isn't in my wheelhouse, I may have to, because it's too tight, I may have to use my hands under my thighs or on the back of my thighs to pull in. And if that's not in your wheelhouse, maybe you need to just grab a strap and place it along the top of your legs and pull it in as much as you can. Okay? But, you know, if you're feeling anything, any kind of a stretch, it should not be painful. That's what you want, right? We're just doing a gentle yoga. Okay? So, strap, back of your legs, all the way around with your arms in a bear hug. Okay. From here, one of my favorites, we're gonna make a T position with our arms. And we're just going to, again, keeping our alignment, we're gonna go ahead and roll our legs, since they're already bent, we're gonna roll them to your right or left. I'm gonna go ahead and roll them to my right, trying to keep my opposite hand and shoulder as close to the ground as I can, looking the opposite way, and I should be getting a stretch, which I am, in here. And for me, because I'm tight and sore, I'm also getting a stretch right here in the pectoral area. Breathe through that. And you're going to want to, using your core muscles, bring your knees back to center, right? And we're going to do the opposite side. And if, say, you are going this way, either way, and you cannot, looking for my block, and you cannot get all the way down to the ground, that's fine. That's why we have blocks and assists. It's just for everybody's different abilities. You can put this block under you and let the block help support you. Bring your knees back, using your core, not your back, but your core, okay? And bring your feet down. And now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna roll over to our side, and we're gonna push ourselves up with our hands. And we're gonna come into the staff pose, which is basically our legs out in front of us. We've done this. Legs out in front of us, toes flexed, okay? And your body is in alignment and straight. You're gonna sit straight up. And that's it for that pose. We're just gonna sit here for a minute and relish being quiet, being in this pose. Now, I know you can figure out, we're gonna go to a seated forward fold. And you can use the band or the strap. If you've got the ability, you can just lean forward, but you want to keep your back straight. It should be a straight lean, keeping your shoulders down, keeping your ribs tucked in, still trying to tuck your tailbone, okay? And then if you need to, grab a strap for wherever you're at. Put it around the ball of your feet, and then you may be right here, and that's okay. You're getting the stretch that's right for you. Okay. We're going to do, from here, a Cobra Pose, which we've done. So we're gonna go ahead and lay over on our stomach. When you come into a class and you lay on your stomach, a lot of times they'll have you cross your hands like this. Bring your hands down, cross them, and rest your head. Sometimes you can rest your head on your hands, one side or the other, looking either way, okay, and they'll probably have you switch. And then from here, we're gonna do the Cobra Pose. And so you're gonna have your feet on the ground behind you. You're gonna have your legs straight. You're gonna be using your glutes to twist the inside of your legs, the back of your legs, towards the middle, okay? And so it's almost like squeezing your glutes, but you're really squeezing your inner thighs. It's called zipping them up. And then you're going to use your arms in front of you, and you're just going to, you should be feeling a stretch in your abdomen, your stomach, just a little one, stretch in your lower stomach, and you should not be hurting your back in any way. This should not hurt your back. This is just a light pull of the stomach. And the way to keep from hurting your back is to make sure you're using your glutes and your legs to pull down. here, we're going to go into child's pose. So go ahead and put your hands at your sides, using your knees, tucking your toes, using your core, not hurting your back. Bring yourself up. You're going to touch your toes together, bring your knees apart, and go back into a child's pose. So when you're doing child's pose, I've given you different options for that. Remember, there's things you can put under your legs to make it easier, because you may not be able to get all the way down there, right? You may be up like this, and that's okay. You're doing you. Okay, so child's pose, you want to try and keep your shoulder blades down. You want to try and get the forehead of your head touching the ground. And you're trying to focus on pushing your tailbone towards the ground behind you. Okay. So then from here, we're going to go back. We're going to go into a pigeon pose. So now you're up on all fours, right? Tabletop position. Okay. You're going to take, we have not done this, as one of my favorite poses though. For a runner, it's a really good pose, or any kind of just exercise enthusiast. It's a great pose to help loosen up your hips. Some people really like it, some people really hate it. It's one of my favorites. So what you're going to do is you're going to keep one knee down, the other leg you're going to bring up, and you're going to cross it in front of you. So I'm going to face you so you can see. And now you're going to take your back leg that's on the ground, and you're going to kind of just bring it back as far as it's comfortable for you. And you should be feeling a pull right in here on your glutes and the side of your hip. Okay, you'll also feel it on the inside of your thigh as well. And this is all you have to do for a pigeon pose. Okay, I'm going to turn a little bit again so you can see a different angle. Now, this is feeling really good for me, but this may feel better for you just to be like this. Or you may need to have a block sitting right here to support your glute area. You may need it to be like this at a higher level to support your glute area. It's okay, whatever is good for you. At some point, you may want to go all the way forward, laying down. And then come back. And we're gonna go back in and do the other side. So we're gonna go back to a plank pose. Go into downward facing dog. It's like one of my favorite things to do, just to stretch back into downward facing dog. Bring your leg up, and we're gonna bring it back in front of us. Drop the back leg, and you should feel that stretch. So the front leg is bent in front of you, and the back leg is straight. And you can come down, just even to elbows. This is my favorite. All right, and then from here, we're gonna go into a seated twist, or a seated pose. And I'm gonna use my block again. So gently come up, bring your knees together. Okay, grab your block if you need to. And go ahead and sit in a crisscross pose. And we're going to do just a gentle spinal twist. We have done a spinal twist today already where we were laying on the ground and I had you take your knees over to the other side, each side. And we started off with a spinal twist, but we're gonna go ahead and do another one. And this one is the same thing where you've got one hand on the opposite knee and you're turning towards the back, okay? And actually, I can tell, for me, it's easier if I'm not on a block because I'm not reaching here. And I don't want to reach there because then that puts me out of alignment and I'm not doing the pose in a way that's safe and healthy for me. We're going to switch to the other side. In any class or any event that you do, one of the things that I've learned is that you learn every single time. Like today, I learned I'm much better at the gentle spinal twist if I'm on the ground versus being on the block. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and stand up. We're gonna do one standing pose. Well, two, but the one standing pose is the mountain pose, where you're just gonna stand. We've done this. You're standing with your feet together and you're in your alignment, your hands facing forward. This is mountain pose. And from here, we're gonna go ahead and we're going to extend our leg out to the side, turning that front leg that's out to the side towards the front of the mat, keeping the back leg facing towards the side of the mat. Okay, and we're gonna do an extended, don't lock your knees, we're gonna do an extended side angle pose from here. So what you wanna do, I grab my block, I've grabbed my block and foot towards the front, this foot towards the side. I'm gonna bring my block down here. You don't have to use a block if you don't want to, and you can use it at this height if you want to. You're not gonna lock out your knees. You're gonna bring your hands out. You're going to use your hips and your waist actually and lean forward or towards your front foot, okay? And then once you get out as far as you feel like you can go, you're gonna just bring your hand down to that block, your other hand towards the ceiling or towards the sky or towards God. And you wanna look, it's good to look towards the hand that's going up, but you can also look at the floor, whatever makes you comfortable, makes you feel steady. And you're gonna breathe, because remember, breathing in alignment is the most important portion of yoga. Okay. From here, we're gonna go ahead and come back up using our core, and we're going to turn our feet the opposite, bringing this foot now towards the side and the other foot towards the other end of the mat. Grab your block if you need it, bring it down with you as you lean forward. And breathe. Come up. Toes forward. And there's so many more things we could be doing, but we're gonna end with this, and we're gonna go ahead and end feet together, come back down onto the mat, and we're gonna end in Shavasana. So I want you to lay down, put your shoulders under your shoulder blades under your back, put your legs out towards the corner of your mat, your feet towards the corner of your mat, pointing, not pointing, but like the heels at the corner of your mat. Your arms out at your side where they're just comfortably laying here, just like you're just laying here going, I'm done. And I want you to close your eyes. I want you to breathe in, breathe out. And I want you to just really not focus on your breathing, but just focus on quieting your body, quieting your mind, and relaxing. And enjoy this last few minutes of time that you're giving yourself. I want to thank you for sharing your practice with me. I know that there are a lot of choices out there, and this may not be for everybody, but I just want everybody to have an opportunity. So if you have any questions, comment below. As always, make sure you have permission from your doctor, and take care of yourself and don't beat yourself up.